Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. This joint press conference with the City of Springfield and AIC is to share planned improvements to pedestrian safety on the nearby Wilbraham Road crosswalk, which was the scene of a tragic accident last month. We are pleased to welcome the Honorable Mayor Dominic Sarno, Springfield City Councilor Malo Brown, Springfield DPW Director Chris Signoli. Springfield Commissioner Cheryl Clapprood was unable to attend today, but we're very pleased to have Springfield Police Deputy Chief Bill Cochran with us. And joining all of our distinguished officials here is AIC alumnus and Board of Trustees Chairperson Frank Colicino. I'm going to ask each of our guests to take a few moments to come up and say a few words and to highlight the plans for improvement of this area. And so we're going to have Mr. Mayor come up first.
Thanks, Candy.
Thank you, Dominic.
Thank you, Candy. And to President Vince Miniacci. Vince, always good to see you, and appreciate the collaboration we have here in partnership with AIC, and attended AIC, an honorary degree, and my youngest daughter, Karina Chiara, will be entering her senior year at AIC. I also want to thank the chairman of the board and longtime friend, Frank Colicino, for being here. Councilor Malo Brown, who worked hand in hand with me on this situation, as did our DPW director, Chris Signoli, and Emmanuel Russell, who lives right in the neighborhood also, from our engineering division, who worked heart and soul with this, city engineer Andrew Card and Chris Signoli, and I know he lives right in the shadow of this neighborhood, as does Councilor Brown. And I want to thank Deputy Chief Bill Cochran, who was pinch hitting for Commissioner Cheryl Clapprood today. We come together because of a tragedy that occurred with Lonnie Kretschmar, who was beloved by the AIC student, staff, administration, was Vince's right hand for many, many years. And even though it was a tragedy, and Lonnie, God rest your soul as you look down upon us from heaven, many a times when these things occur, good comes from it, and it will come in memory of Lonnie. We've huddled together to work with AIC, and under the direction of DPW Director Chris Signoli, and working with the police department, Commissioner Clapprood, we put together, and Councilor Brown, a plan on how to make that crosswalk much more safer. It was a tragedy. People must be aware, have to be aware of distracted driving and obeying the traffic rules and regulations. We don't want this to occur to anyone anywhere here in the city of Springfield. And I also want to thank Lieutenant Mal Katowski, who's here, who works very closely when it comes to traffic issues in the city of Springfield. So what we put forth, and again working with Councilor Malo Brown and my city team, the crosswalk where this tragic incident occurred, stated improvements are going to happen. There will be, and Director Signoli will speak about that, there will be a hawker's light that will be going there. There will be a raised crosswalk. The roadway area will also be what we call skinnied a bit. Preventative signage is going to be up. And there's also going to be an educational effort that is going to be put forth for the neighborhood, and AIC is going to do their own, and through the police department too. Sending that message that people need to be cognizant when they're driving their vehicle. COVID-19 has caused a lot of issues and problems. Some of the obvious. Others have not been so obvious, but we're seeing them now. When you didn't have a lot of traffic on the roads, many people, continue to, whether blow through a stop sign, blow through a red light, go right through a crosswalk. And even though you set foot in that crosswalk, here's where the educational aspect comes in. That does not guarantee your safety. if somebody is not abiding by the rules and regulations of the Chapter 90 traffic laws. So this is a substantial investment that the city of Springfield is going to be making, my administration. It's the right thing to do. The right thing to do. It's about $500,000 as we move forward. And it's in memory of Lonnie. And I know there's members, family members that are here. We wish we weren't here for that reason, but this is going to make it much more safer, not only for AIC students, staff, and administration, but for my residents up here in the Mason Square area. So with that, I will turn it over to City Councilor Marlo Brown, and then we'll have Director Chris Signoli come up to explain the project, and then we'll have Chairman Frank Carlicino, and then on the police perspective, Deputy Chief Bill Cochran. Without further ado, my friend and hardworking colleague on the City Council who was here, he was running at the time, jogging at the time, City Councilor Marlo Brown.
I first want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I'm a God-fearing man, and this is a celebration of a great woman and her life and how it impacted the community, and it's continuing to impact the community today. I really didn't have a chance to get to know Lonnie, but to see the impact that the laws, that how it impacted the different individuals, I know that she is a great woman. With that being said, I do believe that she's looking down and her job is well done, job well done. I also want to thank, first and foremost, our mayor. When I notified him, I reached out, the AIC members have reached out to me, I reached out to the mayor, and he immediately came to my aid. When I became a city councilor in this area, since I only represent this area, I live right up the street, I promised the people who lived here that we were going to bring a form of safety. And I want to commend the mayor for doing so. Unfortunately, we do know in the certain area that it is speeding going on and distracted driving. But I want to commend the mayor and the amount of effort that he put in to making this project come into light in such a short time. Not only did he put his full engineering team, he also put his money where his mouth was. And now this project isn't a project that happens overnight, and to see the way that this project has just expedited, it's amazing. I want to commend everyone that's here. Of course, my brother in the neighborhood. And these are the people behind the scene who actually design it and make sure that it's working. So I won't be too long. I know you guys want to know the ins and outs of how this is actually going to be done. So I'm going to call up, I guess, the brains, one of the biggest brains behind the design, because it takes engineering. You got to cut here. It takes studies. So this was really, really amazing, and I want to commend him also. So, my friend Chris.
No, well, thank you. Good morning, I guess. I wanted to make sure it was still morning. Unfortunately, accidents of all shape and scale happen around the city. Vehicle accidents, pedestrian accidents, people on bicycles. One of the things that we do at DPW is we spend a lot of time talking with people like Mel Kwiatkowski and Lieutenant Kwiatkowski and Deputy Chief Cochran to look at what we think and happened, why what we can do as a city, what we can do as a DPW, what we can do as a police department, and what we can do as a mayor's office to try and find some of these solutions. In looking at the location here, throughout the city, as Councilor Brown said, we are seeing a huge uptick in accidents. Whether it is from distracted driving or speeding, they are occurring. So when we started to look at the location here, we looked at a number of options for the development of the crosswalk here. And as the mayor stated before, in terms, it sounds kind of simple, but there's a lot of engineering that's going to go behind it. The roadway where the crossing is going to be narrowed. The roadway now is about 40 feet. We're going to be narrowing it down to about 24, so that there will be a visual as you are driving on the road that the roadway is being narrowed. At the crossing location, where the crosswalk is, it will become a raised crosswalk, not just for 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet. It will most likely be something a little wider, so that when people who are driving 40 miles an hour hit it, and they're not supposed to be going 40, they will know that they hit something, so it will happen once. And obviously with all the advanced signage, and then as the mayor mentioned, we are putting up what is called a Hawk system, which as a pedestrian comes to that location and wants to cross the street, they hit the button, the light turns red. There is one on State Street, just down by the Indian motorcycle apartment buildings, that was installed a little bit over a year ago. That is basically the exact same thing. The only difference here is that the roadway is going to be narrowed. We're dealing with 2 lanes. The one over there deals with a 4-lane over there, but it is that type of construction that we are doing. We have to do some traffic analyses. We obviously have to do engineering design when you narrow the roadway. Today's not a good day to talk about it, but dealing with drainage and problems like that get created. So we will be starting the design immediately. The final design, we did all of the preliminary work up to now. Our goal is to get the construction piece, the roadway piece, the crosswalk, et cetera, done, by the end of this construction season. The Hawk system itself, the electronics and things like that have been taking a long time to come in. So, we would have everything ready so when those items come in, they would be able to be installed immediately. So we've done a number of these types of crosswalks throughout the city. We just did one on St. James Avenue in the area of Wellesley Street. We narrowed work on Worthington Street. We are doing some on Main Street in Indian Orchard as well. So these types of improvements we've been pushing throughout the city. But what I really also need to do is say thank you and congratulate Emmanuel Russell, who was here, and Andy Carr, my city engineer, who really put these options together. And when we presented them to AIC and got the full support of what we were proposing, obviously is the reason why we're here today. So I want to say thank you to them. And we are entering the design so that we can get going with the construction. I would hope the construction will be able to start within the next 5, 6, 7 weeks and be able to get the work done, as I said, throughout this fall before the end of the construction season, so it's in place. With that, I will turn it over to Frank Colicchino, unless you would like to have Billy.
You want to close, Frank? You'll be the closer. All right.
Billy's itching to talk, I can tell.
Billy Cochran, and then the Red Sox could use a closer.
Yeah.
Thank you, Frank.
Hi, good morning. First, on behalf of the Springfield Police Department, my deepest sympathies to the family, Lonnie's family, for your loss. Tragedy that we had to be here today talking about this. I wish we weren't. But this is absolutely a good thing for the Wilbraham Road corridor and for pedestrian safety overall. The police commissioner is deeply committed to traffic enforcement and pedestrian safety, and those go both hand in hand. Distracted driving, road rage, drinking under the influence are all things that we try to enforce on a regular basis and are difficult to do at times because of our limited manpower, but the mayor's been great to us, giving us overtime, and we have grants and so forth. So one of the layers that we're going to put over this new design is to put increased enforcement in and around the AIC area and the State Street corridor. So that's a good thing, and we hope to get that kicked off really soon. In regards to pedestrian traffic, you know, I was taught as a young kid, stop. We encourage everybody to stop, look both ways, listen, and then cross when it's safe. In this circumstance, Lonnie did that, and it was another motor vehicle, whether it was distracted driving, whatever caused the accident, was an unfortunate thing. But we are going to increase enforcement, and we hope that people cross in crosswalks like Lonnie did. You can see it all over the city, people crossing across Main Street and State Street and challenging traffic. That's not something that we encourage. It's something that we have difficulty enforcing, but we hope that people will take it upon themselves to try and stay safe. In closing, you know, the commissioner is completely supportive of this new change, this new design out here. I think it's going to be great for the neighborhood. It's going to be great for the students here and the employees. And you know, it's just something that's probably overdue. So, thank you.
Chairman Colacino, Frank, the closer.
Good morning. It is still morning, right, Chris? All right. On behalf of AIC President Vince Maniaci and the entire AIC community, I want to thank Mayor Sarno, Councilor Brown, Chris Signoli, Commissioner Claprud, and Deputy Commissioner Cochran for all your effort and all of your collective response in responding to this tragic accident that resulted in the death of Lonnie. Lonnie had a lifelong love of AIC. She was dedicated. Her father taught sociology and anthropology here for 30 years. She and her sisters grew up at AIC, and she returned. She even graduated from AIC. She returned 10 years ago as Vince's executive assistant and assistant to the Board of Trustees. And she's well respected and well liked throughout the entire AIC community and throughout. Well, whoever talked to her always had compliments, saying, hey, you know, I just talked to Lonnie. She was great. So she's going to be sorely, sorely missed. You know, the efforts that the mayor and Councilor Brown and the police department and Public Works, just amazing, getting this all together in such a short period of time. And this will be good not only for the AIC students and employees, but for our neighbors as well. And I want to thank the media for coming out and really helping us to get this message across. Now, you see a picture of Lonnie here, and I don't know, you see a picture of 3 young girls over there, if you look. At the dedication, at the memorial for Lonnie, the sisters, Lonnie's sisters, told us a story about that picture. And that picture was an idea for their parents. And the parents put it in their house, and then they kept moving. And the picture never got up. So every time one of the sisters got a house, they got the picture. So it was a traveling picture. So they thought it was fitting for AIC to have that picture. So we're hanging it up in this room in memory of Lonnie. So I want to thank everybody for all your efforts again. And this is great, and I look forward to the start of construction and the completion of the construction. So thank you all.
I don't know if there's, Candy, if there's any questions or comments from the media at all? Liz?
Yeah, I'm curious if the issues of traffic on that street were already happening beforehand, and if so, what was being done to try and get people to slow down? Or is this just a freak accident that happened? Or is this a constant issue on that road?
I don't know if we want to handle that deputy chief?
Yeah, sure. And Lieutenant Kwiatkowski can, we've run numbers and we wanted to make sure enforcement was consistent over here. And we have done a consistent number of, excuse me, sorry. We have done a lot of enforcement in Wilbraham Road prior to this tragedy. We've written hundreds of tickets for various reasons, and we continue to do so. So I didn't see it as, and maybe Lieutenant can correct me, but I didn't see it as a hotspot for speeding, but there is, we all drive around the city, and people need to be more cognizant of their speed and how they drive. So, but we have, previous to this, written hundreds of tickets up here, and we're going to increase enforcement. We're going to do it the best we can, cognizant of what the neighborhood's wishes are, and we're going to try and concentrate on making sure people slow down and are more cognizant of pedestrian traffic.
Liz Manning, just to let you know, with the situation, as Director Signoli had indicated, once something like this occurs, and a review is done of the situation with DPW, with police, any entities that are in the area, whether it was a residential area, business, in this case, AIC, American International College, to see what predicated it. And then that's an investigation, can't speak on that, but then to see if there was a situation that jumped out, what better can be done to alleviate this happening again. Quickly, a review was done. We're not going through the MassDOT, or we're not going through the Pioneer Valley Planning Council. Sometimes that takes a while. We took it upon our own. So when it was with Councilor Brown, it was brought to our attention, the XYZs were looked at and say, this situation, here's how this situation can see a marked enhancement or improvement for the neighborhood area, which includes AIC on it. Now, here's the other thing, too. We have been doing this across the city to enhance pedestrian safety. The Hawker systems worked very well on the State Street corridor there. We're out Orchard, Main Street, up in the, you said Wesley Street, we're putting them up over there. Any new traffic improvements or paving improvements we're doing, and lights, traffic lights. So that's how it's looked at. So a plan was put together, and again, I commend Director Signoli and Emmanuel Russell and City Engineer Andrew Card. We reviewed it, and then we took it to, with Councilor Brown, the AIC, to review it, to get their thoughts and suggestions, and we were pretty much on the money what we were looking to do. So it's that we have to do it in memory of Lonnie. We wish we didn't have to do it on that, but that's what occurs. And sometimes there's situations that even with everything you do to make it preventative, something can occur. So that's why the education component of this is going to be extremely important. And Chris brought it up too, and so did Deputy Chief Cochran in our meeting. That button sometimes, you have to press that button, and you have to wait. Some people will not press the button. They won't wait. They feel they could step foot and go. In this case, Lonnie did everything right. But I think another thing was looked at, Liz, and then I'll sit down for any other questions for others. We have seen a marked increase since COVID-19, because I don't want to say the roads were desolate, but the roads were not that busy. People literally being so disrespectful and just blowing through stop signs, blowing through red lights, didn't bother them at all, because there's nobody on the roads. Well, some have continued to do that, which causes tragedy. Distracted driving, which can cause tragedy on it. So there's going to be a mix of enforcement, and as Deputy Chief Cochran indicated, we've issued numerous tickets. And at times, I know I harp on it, but the courts need to back us up too. because we get the run, I think in Commissioner Clapwood's column today in the paper. She reported on, we issued a number of tickets, citations, or enforcement we're looking at, and many times they're being dismissed in court. That doesn't send a good message to the community. It sends a message to that driver, he or she, that, what's the big deal? I paid my $25, I'm gonna continue to do what I normally do and drive disrespectfully. So that comes into play too. So a full look is done when these tragic situations occur. I don't know if there's any other more questions or comments at all? Okay.
Thank you again to everyone here today for all that you're doing to make this neighborhood safer for everybody, including our students and our employees. I know you've fought hard to make this happen, and we're all extremely grateful for what you've done. I want to thank everybody for being here today, especially the media for coming out. You've been, very supportive and very helpful in all things AIC, and we really appreciate you being here today as well. Thank you. Have a good day, everyone. Frank.